Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Chris, your NFL writer here at OccupyFantasy.com, here with some NFL DFS picks and tips for the Week 4 slates on DraftKings and FanDuel. We'll look at some running backs for the Week 4 action that's coming up here in the NFL. We're dropping these position preview videos every single week throughout the rest of the NFL season, so if you like that, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel below. We'd also appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up on the video if you like what we did here today. Lets us know that you want to see more of this type of content. Do you have any questions for us? Please leave a comment on the video below. That's the easiest place for us to answer you and let you know what we think about a player that you want to know more about. But you can also consider joining our Discord, where we have other Occupy members, staff members in there talking about every single slate throughout the year, not just with the NFL, but the other sports that are going on. Link to join our Discord is above the description of the video, button below the video here, right there for you as well. Always ready for you to do that there. Running backs in week 4. I think we have a pretty good sense of how teams are using players at this position now through 3 weeks of the season. Injuries are starting to pile up around the league a little bit, so some situations are shifting and changing. So that's certainly one factor to discuss and keep in mind as we get ready for an NFL Sunday. And may have to shift some of our decisions depending on who's active and who's inactive. Obviously, we saw that in week 3 with the Minnesota Vikings backfield, with Dalvin Cook being inactive and Alexander Mattison being a very strong play as a result. Don't know if we have one of those situations ahead of us here in week 4, but we do still have some strong spots to take advantage of. Starting with one that is extremely, extremely clear to begin the week for everybody, and it's Derrick Henry. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Derrick Henry, right? I mean, he's basically gone over 100 yards. 2 weeks in a row. Well, he has gone over 100 yards 2 weeks in a row here. Obviously had the huge game against the Seattle Seahawks with 3 touchdowns, but was not able to find the end zone against the Colts. Still got a very decent score for you at 8,600. His price hasn't really moved at all. He's 8,800 now. Most expensive running back on the slate, but facing a Jets defense, a Jets team that has been extremely inefficient on offense, and that has affected the defense. And I think that's actually a pretty important way to think about this spot with Derrick Henry, because some of the advanced metrics actually show that Jets defense is not that bad against the run, not that bad against running backs in the passing game, but they're just on the field so much because the Jets offense cannot move the sticks and keep the defense off the field, that the raw numbers of what they're giving up have been pretty egregious in general, losing games by some pretty big margins. So, Zach Wilson and the Jets offense are a little more efficient against the Titans somehow, then it might actually affect Derrick Henry a little bit. But the other factor here at play, and we'll talk about this in our wide receiver video if you haven't seen that already, Titans have some injuries at wide receiver that are affecting them as they prepare here in week 4. Could that lead to even more run-heavy work for Derrick Henry? We'll see how that plays out. I think Derrick Henry definitely will be one of the most popular, if not the most popular running back plays on this slate, given the giant spot that they're in against the Jets as, touchdown plus favorites, whatever it is right now. So Jets on the road against, the Titans on the road against the Jets. Derrick Henry, strong play as always. Got that out of the way. We've discussed that here. Alvin Kamara actually, once again, pretty much always projects for the most weighted opportunities to touch football in the Occupy model over at OccupyFantasy.com this week. Occupy model is live every Wednesday evening for you to consider for tournament plays. And Kamara is always one of the best ones that we kind of rank based off of his role. Again, the raw numbers with these targets have not necessarily gotten there yet, but we certainly like to see that he's dominating the opportunity for the Saints in the running game and has a very, very healthy role in the passing game for them, still intact. That Alvin Kamara ceiling game has not hit yet. I don't think we can realistically expect another 6 touchdown game like he had last December, but a big game for Alvin Kamara is on the horizon. A matchup at home, their first home game of the year against a woeful Giants defense, just could be the spot for that. 35 weighted opportunities, as I mentioned, the most we have in the Occupy model. Saints 8.5 point favorites here. That's a good spot to deploy Alvin Kamara in all lineup types. Cleveland Browns running game is in an advantageous spot against the Vikings this week. They are on the road, but it's a dome game in Minnesota, so that means there are no elements for them to contend with. The issue is sort of deciding how you think this game is going to go. Believe Cleveland is currently a slight favorite in this matchup, and if this game stays situation neutral, if this game is in a position where they may have to pass more, then that may actually be more of a Kareem Hunt game, because Kareem Hunt has, roughly a 30% share of the team carries and like a 15% share of the team targets. And he's definitely more involved in passing downs than Nick Chubb is. So he might be interesting at a lower cost, especially in high-risk lineup types. Nick Chubb, though, is just extremely explosive every time he touches the football. Saw his raw rushes obviously creep up to a pretty staggeringly high amount, 22 against the Bears, because the Bears Bears offense, I should say, wasn't really able to do anything against the Browns last week. I don't know if that's going to happen here again in week 4. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings have been pretty efficient on offense, so this is not going to be the type of game where they can just kind of hand the ball to Nick Chubb 20 to 25 times and run out of Minnesota with a victory. But Chubb's still pretty efficient with his touches, so we'll see what he can do. Tough spot to figure out here. I think it's probably tournament only, not good for low-risk lineups for the way, given the way these guys are being used. But it is a pretty intriguing spot in general against Vikings defense for running backs for the Browns here. And they certainly have two of the best ones in the league for you to choose from. The easiest decision, frankly, may just be to plug in Naji Harris. And I think a lot of people have been doing this throughout the first 3 weeks of the season. No reason to stop doing it here. The Green Bay Packers are actually one of the better matchups Naji has had so far this season. They're in the bottom quarter of the league in terms of rush defense, bottom quarter of the league in terms of how they defend running back routes in the passing game. And I mean, this is insane. The 19 targets that he had against the Bengals in week 3. That was in a spot where the Steelers were down one man at receiver. Deontay Johnson, who always commands a high target share from Ben Roethlisberger, missed this game. So maybe that played a role here in the increased attention for Naji Harris. 19 targets is insane. I don't think we can predict that. But if he's going to continue to get, 80% plus of the team rushes, and let's call it 6, 7, 8 or more targets per game, until DraftKings, FanDuel do something about this price here for Naji Harris. 6,800 you can see here on your screen, just 8,200 over on FanDuel. He's probably going to be the most popular running back people roster week in and week out until the salary adjusts for the true role that he has here. It's just absolutely astronomical, the upside that he has based off the amount of touches that he's forecasted to get, given how he's being deployed in the Steelers offense right now. Feel comfortable using Naji Harris in all lineup types at this time. DeAndre Swift is, I was almost going to say, well, the questionable tag is obviously something to watch, but basically, you can't even really say Alvin Kamara light, because he's basically playing the same type of role that we're used to seeing from Alvin Kamara. This involvement in the passing game is going to keep him relevant, especially while his price tag is depressed here. Doesn't matter if they're favored or trailing, that's going to keep him involved in Detroit's offense. He's their second most popular target behind TJ Hawkinson. So that's certainly intriguing. Fits the bill for another running back here that we see sort of in this range of $5,000 to $6,000 on DraftKings that has far more upside than the pricing suggests. We're going to continue, I think, to attack these inefficient salaries for these guys throughout the season while they keep happening. DeAndre Swift certainly in the conversation here. And the Bears themselves actually just 23rd defending running back passing routes so far on the season through 3 weeks of play. Good opportunity for Swift here. 7,700 over on the FanDuel side of things, and projects for, he's basically top 10 in the Occupy model in terms of expected touches at the running back position. We have him for about 27 weighted opportunities, which is a very, very strong role for somebody at this price tag as well. High total game, talked about it in our quarterback video. Running back that is probably going to get a ton of attention once again, especially in the passing game for the Arizona Cardinals. It's Chase Edmonds. Hasn't really been a game yet for the Cardinals where they've been forced to truly chase points and truly chase in the passing game. So I think that spot is coming. Might even be here against the Rams, where the Cardinals are virtually touchdown underdogs in an extremely high total game. 5,500. Chase Edmonds has been underpriced all season long. It's getting a little bit more expensive, but it's still a little too cheap for the upside that we can expect given his role in the passing game. Unlike some of these other guys, not super involved with traditional between the tackles touches, in the red zone and down near the goal line, but especially on PPR sites like DraftKings, he can make up for that with his involvement in the passing game. Did mention in our quarterback video a little bit about Sam Darnold and our expectation of an increased maybe focus on the passing game, I guess, from Joe Brady and that Carolina Panthers offense because of the lack of Christian McCaffrey. We did see last week after McCaffrey left, Chuba Hubbard had certainly a fine role, 11 carries, 5 targets in that game, and it wasn't obviously a full game worth of work as a quote-unquote starter. But we saw Royce Freeman get a decent amount of work. 5 attempts on the target on the ground. 5 attempts on the ground on the target in the passing game. I think it's a spot to watch here. Chuba obviously is probably the one to play. I'm not advocating for Royce Freeman at all, but I don't think we know yet the degree to which Royce Freeman is going to actually affect Chuba Hubbard in this matchup against the Dallas Cowboys and in general on this Panther offense while they have to rely on these two guys. I think, probably high risk only for me, probably for us here at Occupy. Don't think Chuba is in that lock button conversation that you often see with cheap running backs thrust into starting roles, kind of like we saw with Alexander Mattison last week. That is going to do it for this rundown, folks. For more information, keep an eye out for the daily plug at OccupyFantasy.com, where we will give you not just our top running back plays, but also our other favorite plays at the other positions that you have to use as well. We will also have some contest recommendations based off your bankroll tier, and most importantly, the tips that you need to tailor your lineups appropriately for either low risk, that's your head-to-head double-up type contests, or high risk, those are your contests where only a quarter of the field or less get paid out. We'll definitely take our favorite plays for the week and then tailor them to the strategies that we've uncovered at Occupy Fantasy for you to attack those contests successfully. Don't miss that section. That's definitely the most important section of the plug, frankly. Again, that's Friday evening, OccupyFantasy.com, the daily plug. That's where we finalize everything for you. Certainly worth checking out. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel below. If you do so, you will get notified when we have new content for you to look at, and that is certainly important if you enjoy these videos. You want to make sure you know when a new one is available for you to check out. If you like what we did here, please leave a thumbs up. It lets us know that you want to see more of this moving forward. Is there a running back that we didn't touch on in this video that you want to hear more about? Leave a comment below. That's the best place for us to kind of respond to you immediately and let you know what we think. But you can also consider joining our Discord, where we have Occupy staff and members talking about not just running backs, but every kind of position, every slate throughout the rest of the season. It's a good place to be if you want to talk about that kind of stuff. Lots of things going on here on the Occupy Fantasy YouTube channel this year. Got new content coming out virtually every day for you to check out. Really appreciate you being here. Once again, that means it's time to go with this video. For Occupy, I'm Chris. Thank you for watching, and we will talk to you soon.